Chosen one. Do you see the gate is opening? Do you see each gate is opening? Chosen one. This is not imagination, and this is not emotional excitement. What you are sensing right now is a shift in the spirit, a moment where access is being granted after a long season of containment. These are not gates of indulgence or comfort. These are kingdom supply gates opening because the vessel has been prepared, refined, and proven in silence. Anointed one, you were not delayed because you were unworthy. You were delayed because what is being released carries weight. Heaven does not pour unlimited supply into unstable hands. What opens now is tied to assignment, not appetite, to stewardship, not status. Chosen one. The solitude you endured was not punishment. It was insulation. The quiet seasons trained your discernment, purified your motives, and separated you from voices that could not handle what you are about to manage. This supply is not for display, it is for deployment. It is meant to move vision, restore people, and fund what heaven authored long before you understood it. Anointed one, as these gates open, remain attentive. Move with humility. Listen more than you speak. Those aligned will recognize the shift without explanation. And if your spirit is bearing witness, stay present, stay anchored, and stay connected as this word unfolds. Chosen one. What is opening around you right now is not accidental, and it is not late. Heaven does not move in panic, and it does not rush what carries weight. What you are sensing is a deliberate release timed to the maturity of your spirit, not the impatience of your emotions. There are moments when God answers prayers quietly, and there are moments when He answers them with movement. This is a movement moment. The gates opening before you are not symbolic, they are functional. They are access points to provision that was withheld until your inner structure could sustain it. Anointed one. I need you to hear this clearly. The delay you resented was the discipline that saved you. There were seasons where you wondered why opportunities stalled, why finances moved slowly, why doors seemed to open halfway and then close again. It was not because heaven forgot you. It was because heaven was watching how you handled pressure, disappointment, isolation, and silence. I say this with lived understanding, not theory. I remember standing in seasons where effort exceeded results, where prayer felt faithful, but outcomes felt absent. What I did not realize then was that God was teaching me restraint before release, silence before stewardship, and obedience before authority. Chosen one, kingdom supply does not respond to desperation, it responds to alignment. What opens now is not a reward for endurance alone, but a response to refinement. You were being shaped to manage resources without losing reverence, to carry abundance without losing humility, and to move influence without corruption. That shaping often feels like being hidden, overlooked, or underestimated. But heaven hides what it intends to protect, and what is protected long enough becomes powerful. Anointed one. There is a difference between personal increase and kingdom supply. Personal increase feeds comfort. Kingdom supply fuels assignment. And what is coming toward you now is not meant to inflate your lifestyle, but to expand your impact. This is why your heart has been restless, even in moments of peace. This is why superficial success never fully satisfied you. You were never designed to stop at enough. You were designed to steward overflow with wisdom. The gates opening now are connected to purpose that extends beyond you, into people you have not met yet, and outcomes you have not imagined yet. Chosen one. Let me ground this in reality. I have seen people receive sudden access, money, influence, opportunity before they were internally anchored. I have also seen how quickly that access became a burden instead of a blessing. What God does differently is that he prepares the carrier before he releases the cargo. That is why your preparation felt longer than others. That is why your path felt lonelier. That is why shortcuts never worked for you. You were not being denied. You were being preserved. Anointed one. The gates opening now are responding to a posture you have been cultivating without applause. You learned how to listen instead of react. You learned how to wait without withdrawing. You learned how to keep your integrity intact when compromise would have sped things up. That matters in heaven. Kingdom supply flows where trust has been proven, and trust is not proven in abundance. It is proven in restraint. Chosen one. As this shift unfolds, you may notice something subtle but important: peace arriving before provision. That is the signature of heaven. Anxiety-driven breakthroughs come loud and unstable. God-driven supply arrives with calm authority. You may not feel rushed. You may not feel the urge to explain yourself. You may feel a quiet confidence settling into your decisions. That is alignment. That is how you know this is not emotional hype, but spiritual timing. Anointed one. This is also the season where discernment becomes essential. Not every open door is yours even now. Kingdom supply does not mean unlimited access without instruction. It means provision with direction. There will be moments where less obvious paths carry more authority. There will be moments where silence protects momentum. And there will be moments where obedience requires you to say no to things that look good but are misaligned. I have learned this the hard way. I have watched God open doors and then teach me which ones not to walk through. Provision without discernment becomes pressure. Provision with discernment becomes power. Chosen one. You are stepping into a phase where heaven begins to trust you with movement. That trust did not come from perfection. It came from consistency. You kept showing up when results were invisible. You kept choosing integrity when recognition was absent. You kept refining your heart when no one was watching. That is why the gates are opening now, not earlier. This is not random. This is earned alignment. Anointed one's surrender does not end when supply begins. It deepens. The more God entrusts to you, the more your dependence must remain anchored in Him. Kingdom supply is not about independence from God. It is about partnership with Him. You will find that as resources increase, your sensitivity must increase as well. The goal is not to move faster, but to move truer. Not louder, but clearer. Chosen one, pause for a moment and feel this, not emotionally but spiritually. You are not stepping into chaos. You are stepping into structure. You are not stepping into greed. You are stepping into responsibility. You are not stepping into performance. You are stepping into stewardship. And heaven is not experimenting with you. Heaven is confident in you. Anointed one, stay anchored, stay humble, stay responsive. The gates are opening, but the path forward still requires listening. Let what unfolds shape you without hardening you. Let provision arrive without replacing reverence. And let this moment mark not just a change in what you have, but a deeper clarity in who you are becoming. Chosen one. There is a truth you must understand. As these kingdom supply gates open, heaven never releases provision in isolation. It releases it into alignment. What is happening around you right now is not just financial, and it is not just circumstantial. It is relational, internal, and directional. God is not only adjusting what comes into your hands, He is adjusting what surrounds your life. People, environments, conversations, and even opportunities are being filtered in real time. Some things will fall away without explanation. Others will appear suddenly, almost effortlessly. This is not instability. This is precision. Anointed one. I have learned that divine elevation often begins with quiet subtraction. Before God adds weight, he removes distraction. Before he increases supply, he simplifies focus. That is why you may feel less tolerance for noise drama or superficial ambition. Things that once excited you now feel hollow. Places that once felt safe now feel restrictive. This is not arrogance. This is alignment. When heaven prepares to trust someone with kingdom supply, it sharpens their discernment first. Chosen one, let me speak to the fear that tries to surface at this stage. When movement begins after a long delay, there is often a temptation to rush, to grab, to secure everything at once. I have been there. I remember moments when doors finally opened after years of waiting, and I felt pressure to say yes to everything because I feared the doors might close again. But God does not test you with lack only to lose you to excess. The same patience that sustained you in waiting must now guide you in receiving. Anointed One kingdom supply does not demand speed. It demands stewardship. There will be moments where slowing down feels counterintuitive, especially when opportunities finally align. But heaven is not impressed by how fast you move. Heaven is attentive to how wisely you choose. The gates opening now are not an invitation to abandon discernment. They are an invitation to deepen it. You are not being released into survival mode again. You are being invited into trust-based movement. Chosen one, understand this. What is coming to you now is not meant to replace your dependence on God. It is meant to reveal it. True kingdom supply does not make you feel self-sufficient. It makes you feel accountable. It carries weight, not adrenaline. It brings responsibility, not ego. If at any point you feel rushed, anxious, or pressured to prove something, pause. That is not the voice of heaven. God's provision arrives with peace, even when it carries magnitude. Anointed One, I want to ground this in lived experience. There were seasons in my life where I prayed for relief, prayed for increase, prayed for clarity, and when answers finally came, they did not arrive the way I imagined. They arrived with decisions, with discipline, with moments that required restraint instead of celebration. I learned quickly that abundance reveals character faster than adversity. Scarcity shows you what you lack. Supply shows you who you are. That is why God prepares the heart before he releases the resource. Chosen one, as these gates open, you may notice that your desires are changing. What once felt urgent may now feel optional. What once felt impossible may now feel manageable. And what once felt distant may now feel inevitable. This is not fantasy. This is recalibration. When heaven aligns you with kingdom supply, it also aligns your expectations with reality. You stop chasing outcomes and start stewarding processes. You stop asking, how much can I get? And start asking, what is this for, Anointed One? This is where surrender deepens. Not surrender as passivity, but surrender as trust. Trust that God knows where to route what he sends. Trust that you do not need to control outcomes to remain secure. Trust that obedience will still matter even when resources increase. This is not the season to loosen your spiritual disciplines. This is the season to anchor them. Prayer, stillness, listening, integrity. These are not preparation tools anymore. They are maintenance tools. Chosen one. I also want to speak to the loneliness that can accompany this phase. When alignment increases, relatability often decreases. Not everyone will understand your restraint. Not everyone will celebrate your discernment. Some may interpret your boundaries as distance. Others may misread your silence as disinterest. Let them. You are not being called to explain yourself at every turn. You are being called to remain faithful to the assignment unfolding before you. Kingdom supply often separates before it multiplies. Anointed One, The people meant to walk with you into this season will not need excessive explanation. They will recognize the shift by the peace you carry and the clarity in your decisions. You will not have to announce what God is doing. Fruit always speaks louder than intention. When heaven backs a movement, it leaves evidence without noise. Chosen one, do not underestimate the spiritual significance of timing. There were reasons this did not happen earlier. There were versions of you that could not have sustained what is arriving now, and that is not a judgment. It is an acknowledgement of growth. You survived seasons that would have distorted you if provision had arrived too soon. You learned how to wait without hardening. You learned how to hope without demanding. You learned how to trust without controlling. Those lessons are now becoming safeguards. Anointed one, there is also a warning wrapped in this moment. Do not romanticize the past simply because it was familiar. When God moves you forward, nostalgia can become resistance. You are not dishonoring previous seasons by releasing them. You are honoring them by allowing their purpose to be completed. What sustained you then may not sustain you now, and what protected you then may limit you now. Let God redefine your strategies without guilt. Chosen one, as these kingdom supply gates open, your posture matters more than your planning. Plans will change, directions may adjust, but posture determines whether supply becomes a blessing or a burden. Stay teachable, stay responsive, stay anchored. You do not need to fear mishandling what God is releasing. If He trusted you enough to prepare you, He trusts you enough to guide you. Anointed one, hear this clearly. You are not stepping into chaos. You are stepping into order, divine order. The kind that does not always make sense at first, but reveals wisdom over time. You are being positioned, not pressured, supported, not tested, elevated, not exposed. And as long as you remain attentive, humble and surrendered, what opens now will not overwhelm you. It will establish you. Chosen one, take a breath. Let the urgency sharpen you, not rush you. Let the supply serve the assignment, not replace it. And let this moment mark a deeper alignment between heaven's trust and your obedience. Chosen one. There is another layer to this moment that must be understood if you are to walk wisely through what is opening. Kingdom supply does not simply change what you possess. It exposes what governs you. When heaven entrusts greater flow, it reveals what has been ruling your decisions beneath the surface. This is why inner alignment matters more now than ever before. What you tolerate internally will eventually shape how you steward externally. Anointed one. Many people imagine divine provision as relief from pressure, but in truth it often introduces a different kind of responsibility. The pressure of survival is replaced by the weight of influence. The anxiety of lack is replaced by the accountability of overflow. I have seen this transition confuse people who were faithful in waiting but unprepared for managing what arrived. They thought the test ended when the doors opened. In reality, the test simply changed form. Chosen one, understand this clearly. God does not elevate to expose, but elevation will expose anything that remains unsubmitted. If fear governed you in scarcity, it will try to disguise itself as control in abundance. If comparison ruled you in lack, it will try to resurface as pride in increase. This is not condemnation. This is awareness. Heaven is giving you access, but it is also inviting you into deeper honesty with yourself. Anointed one, this is where spiritual maturity becomes visible, not in how loudly you celebrate, but in how quietly you listen, not in how much you accumulate, but in how carefully you discern. Kingdom supply flows best through vessels that remain interruptible. Vessels that can pause when God whispers, even if momentum is building. Vessels that can release when God instructs, even if logic resists. Chosen one, let me share something personal. There was a time when I prayed relentlessly for breakthrough, convinced that if God would just move the obstacle, everything would align. And when the breakthrough finally came, I realized that the obstacle had not been external at all. It had been my assumptions, my expectations, my desire to control outcomes. Provision did not fix those things. It revealed them. And it was only when I surrendered my need to manage everything that peace truly settled in. Anointed one, what is opening now will require you to trust God in new ways. Trust Him not only for provision, but for instruction. Trust Him not only for access, but for timing. There will be moments where obedience feels costly, even when resources are available. Moments where generosity stretches you not financially, but emotionally. Moments where restraint protects you more than expansion would. These moments are not setbacks, they are safeguards. Chosen. One Kingdom Supply is governed by purpose, not preference. It moves where assignment is clear and motives are clean. This is why God has been refining your heart, not just your habits. He has been teaching you how to want less noise, less validation, less comparison. He has been training you to recognize fulfillment that does not depend on applause. That training was not random, it was preparation for stewardship at scale. Anointed one, do not be surprised if your sense of identity is shifting alongside your circumstances. When God entrusts you with more, He often removes labels that once defined you. You may no longer resonate with being the struggling one, the overlooked one, or even the resilient one. Those identities served a season, but they are not meant to anchor you forever. Kingdom Supply invites you into a new self-understanding, one rooted in responsibility rather than reaction. Chosen one, this can feel unsettling at times. Growth often does. You may find yourself grieving versions of yourself that carried you through hard seasons. Honor them, but do not cling to them. What carried you through survival is not meant to govern you in stewardship. God is not erasing your past. He is completing it. Anointed one, there is also a call to courage in this moment. Courage to say no when yes would be easier. Courage to remain unseen when visibility is offered prematurely. Courage to prioritize integrity over acceleration. I have learned that some of the most dangerous moments are not when nothing is working, but when many things start working at once. Discernment must increase with opportunity, not decrease. Chosen one, pay attention to what drains you now. Not physically, but spiritually. Some conversations will suddenly feel heavy. Some environments will feel misaligned. Some ambitions will lose their appeal. This is not loss. This is clarity. God is narrowing your focus so that what flows to you is not diluted by distraction. Kingdom Supply is precise. It does not scatter. It targets. Anointed one. This precision may feel uncomfortable to those around you. People who benefited from your accessibility may resist your boundaries. People who were comfortable with your limitations may struggle with your growth. This is not a call to withdraw in pride, but a call to stand firm in alignment. You are not required to shrink so others can remain comfortable. You are required to remain faithful so the assignment can be fulfilled. Chosen one, let your confidence be quiet. Loud confidence often masks insecurity. Quiet confidence flows from trust. Trust that God is directing what you cannot see. Trust that obedience will continue to open what effort cannot. Trust that you do not need to announce your elevation for it to be real. Heaven announces what it establishes in its own time. Anointed one. This is also a season to revisit your relationship with rest. Not rest as escape, but rest as trust. When supply begins to flow, the temptation is to work harder, move faster, do more. But kingdom supply does not thrive on exhaustion. It thrives on alignment. Rest keeps your spirit sensitive. It keeps your discernment sharp. It keeps your motives clean. Do not abandon rest in the name of productivity. Chosen one, as these gates continue to open, remain anchored in gratitude, not entitlement. Gratitude keeps your heart soft. Entitlement hardens it. One attracts guidance, the other resists correction. God corrects those he trusts, and correction in this season is not punishment, it is protection. Anointed one, remember this, you are not managing this transition alone. The same God who prepared you for this moment is walking with you through it. He is not observing from a distance. He is present in the details, in the decisions, in the pauses, in the redirections. Stay responsive, stay humble, stay surrendered. Chosen one. What is unfolding now is not fragile. It is intentional. It has been tested by time, refined by waiting, and aligned by obedience. You are not stepping into uncertainty. You are stepping into responsibility backed by heaven. Let that awareness steady you, let it guide you, and let it deepen your trust as kingdom supply continues to move toward you. Chosen one. There is a sacred misunderstanding that must be corrected as kingdom supply begins to flow more visibly in your life. Provision is not proof of arrival, it is permission to advance. Heaven does not release resources as a reward for finishing, but as fuel for continuing. This is why complacency is more dangerous now than discouragement ever was before. Discouragement made you pray. Complacency can make you drift. Stay awake. Anointed one, I want you to recognize the difference between momentum and direction. Momentum feels powerful, but direction keeps you aligned. When doors begin opening quickly, it is easy to confuse speed with confirmation. I have learned, sometimes painfully, that not every acceleration is divine. God's acceleration carries clarity. It does not demand compromise. It does not pressure you to abandon discernment. If something requires you to silence your conscience to sustain it, it is not kingdom supply, no matter how profitable it appears. Chosen one, the gates opening now are governed by order, divine order. That order begins within you. Your thoughts, your habits, your reactions. These are now part of the infrastructure that supports what God is releasing. If your inner world remains chaotic, external supply will eventually amplify that chaos. This is why God dealt with your inner life first. He taught you patience before He entrusted you with provision. He taught you restraint before He entrusted you with reach. Anointed one, let me be transparent with you. There were moments in my own journey where I assumed that once provision came, clarity would automatically follow. I believed that resources would eliminate confusion, but what I discovered was that clarity often precedes provision, not the other way around. When God finally increased flow, it did not remove the need for listening, it intensified it. I had to learn how to pause even when everything around me said, "Move now." Chosen one. This season will test how well you can remain grounded while being elevated. Grounded people do not panic when circumstances shift. They adjust without losing themselves. You will be tempted to define yourself by what you manage, what you produce, or what you control. Resist that temptation. Your identity is not your assignment. Your assignment flows from your identity. Reverse that order and pressure will replace peace. Anointed one, kingdom supply does not arrive to compete with others. It arrives to complete something specific. Comparison will try to re-enter your thinking at this stage, especially when visibility increases. You may notice what others have, how they move, how quickly they grow. Comparison is subtle, but it is corrosive. It pulls you out of your lane and into anxiety. Stay focused. What God is doing through you does not require imitation to succeed. Chosen one. There is also a refinement happening in how you communicate. Words carry more weight now. Decisions ripple further. Silence becomes strategic. Not everything you know needs to be shared. Not every insight needs to be announced. I have learned that wisdom often sounds quieter as authority increases. When you know who sent you, you do not need constant affirmation from those watching. Anointed One's stewardship in this season will often look unremarkable to the outside world. Faithfulness rarely draws attention, but it builds foundations that attention cannot destroy. The temptation will be to dramatize what God is doing to feel validated. Resist that urge. Kingdom supply does not need exaggeration to remain powerful. It needs obedience to remain effective. Chosen one, pay attention to your emotional rhythms. Elevation can surface unresolved wounds if you are not attentive. Old insecurities may whisper when new responsibilities arise. Fear may disguise itself as urgency. Pride may disguise itself as confidence. Stay honest with God about what surfaces. He is not surprised by it. He is present to heal it. Suppressing emotions does not make you strong. Processing them with God does. Anointed one. This is also a season where trust is tested in unexpected ways. Trust in God, yes, but also trust in yourself as someone God has prepared. You may second-guess decisions that require courage. You may hesitate to step fully into spaces you once prayed for. That hesitation is not weakness, it is reverence. But do not let reverence turn into retreat. God does not open gates for you to stand at the threshold indefinitely. He opens them for you to walk through with humility and confidence. Chosen one, remember how far you have come, not to inflate your ego, but to ground your faith. There were moments you did not think you would survive emotionally, spiritually, or mentally. Yet here you are, still discerning, still listening, still surrendered. That resilience was not accidental. It was cultivated, and it is now part of the strength that supports what is opening. Anointed one. I want to speak directly to your sense of responsibility. It may feel heavy at times. That is normal. Weight is not a sign that something is wrong. It is a sign that something matters. The goal is not to eliminate weight, but to carry it with God instead of alone. When responsibility feels overwhelming, return to stillness, not to withdraw, but to recalibrate. God will never ask you to carry alone what He intends to sustain. Chosen one. There will be moments where obedience feels less glamorous than opportunity. Choose obedience anyway. Opportunity can expand you externally. Obedience stabilizes you internally. Stability allows longevity, and longevity is essential for kingdom impact. God is not interested in short-lived success. He is invested in sustained influence. Anointed one, let your decisions be slow enough to remain wise and firm enough to remain faithful. You do not need to rush to prove that the gates have opened. Time will testify for you. Fruit will speak for you. Peace will distinguish you. Those who are meant to understand will understand without explanation. Chosen one. As you continue walking through these opening gates, anchor yourself in this truth. Heaven is not reacting to your life, it is leading it. You are not improvising your future. You are aligning with it, and alignment does not require perfection. It requires availability. Stay available, stay responsive, stay surrendered. Anointed one, the supply flowing toward you is not fragile. It is governed. It is not impulsive. It is intentional. And as long as you remain attentive to the one who released it, what is opening now will not overwhelm you. It will establish you in ways that endure. Chosen one, as kingdom supply continues to unfold around you, there is a deeper internal invitation taking place, an invitation to maturity of trust. Trust is easy when you are waiting. It becomes more complex when you are receiving. Waiting taught you how to hope. Receiving will teach you how to surrender. Surrender not as weakness, but as wisdom. Wisdom that recognizes you are now carrying something that must remain aligned long after the excitement fades. Anointed One. One of the greatest misconceptions about divine provision is that it simplifies life. In reality, it clarifies it. Clarity often demands decisions that comfort never required. You may now be asked to choose between what is profitable and what is purposeful, between what grows quickly and what grows correctly. These choices define stewardship. They reveal whether supply governs you or serves you. Chosen One. I want you to understand that heaven is not only watching what you do with what you receive, heaven is watching how you listen while you receive. Listening becomes more important when options multiply. When resources increase, voices increase as well. Advice will come freely. Opinions will arrive unsolicited. Some will mean well. Others will simply be drawn to proximity. Discernment must become instinctive now, not occasional. Anointed One. I have learned that not every open conversation is a divine invitation. Not every flattering connection is a covenant, and not every opportunity that praises your potential honors your purpose. Kingdom supply attracts attention, but attention does not equal alignment. You are allowed to be selective without being suspicious. You are allowed to be discerning without being distant. This balance protects your spirit. Chosen One. This season will require you to revisit how you define success. Old definitions will feel inadequate. Success can no longer be measured solely by accumulation or visibility. It must be measured by sustainability and peace. If what you build cannot be maintained without anxiety, it is not yet aligned. Kingdom supply does not demand that you sacrifice your inner life to maintain outer growth. Anointed One, pay attention to how God is inviting you to restructure your priorities. Time becomes more valuable when responsibility increases. Energy becomes sacred. Focus becomes essential. You will not be able to carry everything you once did. Some commitments must be released. Some roles must be redefined. This is not abandonment, it is refinement. What once fit may no longer serve. Chosen One, this can be emotionally challenging. Letting go of familiar responsibilities can feel like betrayal, even when God initiates it. You may feel guilt for choosing differently than before. Release that guilt. Faithfulness in one season does not require repetition in the next. Obedience evolves as assignments change. God is not asking you to become less compassionate. He is asking you to become more effective. Anointed One, another truth you must embrace is that kingdom supply often exposes relational misalignment. Some relationships will thrive as you grow, others will strain. This is not always about character. Sometimes it is about capacity. Not everyone is meant to walk with you at every level. This does not require confrontation or explanation. It requires grace. Grace to bless people without carrying them beyond their season. Chosen One. There is wisdom in learning how to walk forward without dragging the past behind you. Memories are valuable, but they are not meant to govern direction. Honor what was, but do not let nostalgia slow obedience. God is not diminishing your history, He is extending it. The next chapter builds on the previous ones, but it does not repeat them. Anointed One stewardship in this phase will also test your relationship with generosity. Not generosity as performance, but generosity as obedience. There will be moments when God prompts you to release resources quietly without recognition or return. These moments refine your heart. They keep your motives clean. They remind you that supply flows through you, not from you. Chosen one generosity does not always look dramatic. Sometimes it looks like restraint, choosing not to hoard, not to control, not to fear the future. It looks like trusting that the same God who opened the gates will continue to govern the flow. Fear-based accumulation suffocates movement. Faith-based stewardship sustains it. Anointed One, let me speak to the subtle temptation of self-reliance. When supply increases, it can quietly shift your internal posture from dependence to confidence in systems, strategies, or structures. Systems are useful. Strategies are necessary. Structures provide stability, but none of them replace the source. If at any point you find yourself relying more on what you manage than on who guides you, pause, realign, return to stillness. Chosen. One prayer in this season is less about asking and more about listening, less about urgency and more about awareness. God has not gone silent. He is speaking differently. He is guiding through impressions, through restraint, through peace that settles when a decision aligns. Do not rush past these signals. They are part of how kingdom supply remains ordered. Anointed One, you may also notice that your tolerance for compromise is decreasing. Situations that once felt negotiable now feel disruptive. That sensitivity is not weakness. It is discernment. Protect it. Do not numb it for convenience. Kingdom supply cannot be sustained where conscience is repeatedly ignored. Chosen One. There is also an invitation to humility that accompanies elevation. Humility is not self-doubt. It is accurate self-awareness. It is knowing what you carry without exaggeration or denial. It is being confident enough to admit when you need help and wise enough to seek counsel when decisions carry weight. Isolation is not strength. Interdependence is. Anointed One, choose your counsel carefully. Not everyone who admires your growth understands your assignment. Seek those who value alignment over admiration. Those who are willing to challenge you gently, not flatter you loudly. God often protects through wise voices, not constant agreement. Chosen One. This season is not about proving anything to anyone. It is about partnering with God in a deeper way than before. The gates opening now are an invitation to walk with intention, clarity, and reverence. You are not being rushed. You are being entrusted. Anointed One, let gratitude remain your anchor. Gratitude keeps your heart open. It keeps your spirit soft. It reminds you that everything you steward is a gift, not an entitlement. When gratitude fades, pressure increases. When gratitude remains, peace multiplies. Chosen One. You are learning how to carry more without becoming heavier, how to receive without becoming distracted, how to lead without losing yourself. This is not accidental growth. It is cultivated maturity. And as long as you remain attentive, humble, and surrendered, what flows through you will continue to align with what heaven intends. Anointed One, breathe into this moment. You are not behind. You are not unprepared. You are not alone. The gates are opening, yes, but more importantly, your capacity to steward what flows through them has been expanded. Walk forward with confidence, not in yourself, but in the One who entrusted you with this season. Chosen One, as you stand fully within what heaven has opened, there is one final posture that must be sealed in your spirit: endurance. Not endurance born from struggle, but endurance born from stability. Many people can handle the moment of breakthrough. Few can sustain the responsibility that follows it. What God is entrusting to you now is not momentary relief. It is a long obedience in the same direction. Kingdom supply is meant to last, and longevity requires rhythm, not intensity. Anointed one. The temptation at this stage is to believe that the hardest part is over. In one sense, yes, the season of proving through lack has passed. But in another sense, a deeper calling begins. You are now responsible not only for what you receive, but for what you preserve. Preservation requires wisdom. It requires consistency. It requires the humility to remain teachable even when results validate your obedience. Chosen one. I want you to understand that heaven measures success differently than the world does. The world celebrates peaks. Heaven values continuity. The world applauds expansion. Heaven watches faithfulness. There will be moments when what God asks of you feels smaller than what you are capable of. Do not despise those moments. Small obedience sustains large assignments. Ignoring the small for the sake of the spectacular eventually fractures integrity. Anointed one, let your daily life remain aligned with your spiritual life. Do not allow growth to create a gap between who you are publicly and who you are privately. That gap becomes a pressure point over time. I have seen people rise quickly and collapse quietly because their inner life could not support their outer influence. God has spared you from that by shaping you slowly. Honor that shaping by remaining consistent. Chosen one. There will be seasons ahead where the gates feel less dramatic, less visible. Do not misinterpret quiet as closure. Quiet often means stability has been established. God does not need to announce every movement once alignment is secured. Some of the most powerful seasons are marked by steady progress, not sudden shifts. Learn to recognize God's presence in consistency, not just in change. Anointed one. Remember that kingdom supply is not static. It flows, it adjusts, it responds to obedience. There will be times when God redirects resources, narrows paths, or reassigns focus. These adjustments are not losses, they are recalibrations. Trust Him enough to follow without needing to understand everything immediately. Understanding often follows obedience, not the other way around. Chosen one. I want to speak to the fear of missteps. Fear will whisper that one wrong decision could undo everything. That is not how God works. He is not fragile. His plans are not that easily disrupted. He leads with grace. Correction is part of stewardship, not evidence of failure. If you remain responsive, God will guide you through adjustments without condemnation. Anointed one, do not carry the weight of perfection. Carry the posture of responsiveness. Perfection isolates. Responsiveness keeps you connected. God is not asking you to never make mistakes. He is asking you to stay attentive. Attentive hearts course correct quickly. Proud hearts resist redirection. Chosen one, let your vision remain submitted. Vision that is no longer surrendered becomes ambition. Ambition eventually competes with obedience. The difference is subtle but significant. Vision submitted to God remains flexible. Ambition demands outcomes. Stay flexible. Stay open. God may expand your assignment in ways you did not anticipate. He may also simplify it. Both require trust. Anointed one, protect your inner stillness. Noise will try to return, especially as responsibility increases. Noise in the form of urgency, expectation, pressure, and comparison. Stillness is not inactivity, it is alignment. It is where discernment remains sharp and motives remain clear. Make space for it intentionally. Stillness is not a luxury for you anymore, it is a necessity. Chosen one, do not neglect joy. Joy is often misunderstood as emotion, but it is actually strength. Joy anchors you in gratitude. It reminds you why obedience matters. It keeps your spirit light even when responsibility is heavy. A joyless steward becomes mechanical. A joyful steward remains human. God delights in joyful obedience, not burdensome performance. Anointed One, your life will now serve as a testimony, not because of what you say, but because of how you live. People will observe your peace under pressure, your clarity amid complexity, your restraint in moments of opportunity. These observations matter more than declarations. Kingdom Supply establishes credibility quietly. Chosen One, you may not always feel the magnitude of what God is doing through you. That is intentional. If you felt it fully, it might overwhelm you. God often allows us to experience our assignment one step at a time, so we remain dependent, not intoxicated by impact. Trust that what you cannot see fully is still unfolding faithfully. Anointed One, there will be future challenges. Do not be surprised by them. Challenges do not negate provision, they refine stewardship. Each challenge will invite you to deepen trust, sharpen discernment, and reaffirm surrender. What has opened will not close because of challenge. It will mature through it. Chosen One, as you continue forward, anchor yourself in this truth. God is not finished with you. What you are experiencing now is not the culmination. It is the confirmation. Confirmation that your obedience mattered. Confirmation that your waiting was not wasted. Confirmation that your refinement was purposeful. Anointed One, remain faithful in the unseen, as you were faithful in the unseen before provision came. Faithfulness does not change because circumstances do. It deepens, it matures, it stabilizes. That is the kind of faith heaven entrusts with lasting supply. Chosen One, lift your eyes not in pride, but in gratitude. The gates have opened because you were prepared. And as long as you remain aligned, surrendered, and attentive, what heaven has released will continue to flow with purpose, clarity, and peace. Anointed One, walk forward now, not rushing, not hesitating, but trusting. The same God who opened the gates walks with you beyond them. Chosen One, take a moment and breathe this in. What you have just received is not information, it is confirmation. Heaven has spoken, alignment has been established, and the gates that were once sealed are now responding to your obedience. This is not anticipation anymore, this is activation. A supernatural transfer is already in motion, and you are standing in your exact Kairos moment, the time written for you before you ever asked. Anointed One, may peace settle over your spirit as you move forward. May clarity guard your decisions. May humility anchor your heart as provision increases and responsibility deepens. What God is releasing will not overwhelm you because He prepared you to steward it with wisdom and reverence. You are not late. You are not early. You are precisely on time. I declare strength over your hands, discernment over your steps, and favor over every assignment connected to your life. What unfolds next will confirm what heaven has already approved. Stay faithful, stay aligned, stay grateful even before you see everything manifest. And if this word bore witness in your spirit, let it be sealed. Stay connected to this flow, and if you feel led, quietly affirm it by subscribing and sharing this message with someone who needs alignment. You may also place your city in the comments as a simple act of gratitude, a marker that you were present when the gates opened. Go forward, Chosen One. Heaven walks with you.